reviews, discussions, and theories about films in horror, sci-fi, and genre. This is The Horror Deconstruction. Like, share, and subscribe to hear more.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's The Horror Deconstruction. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, but most likely on YouTube. Please give a like, share, and subscribe to hear more, or we're getting out of here. We're done with, if you don't follow us, you bastards. With your host Komp and...
Bjork's ex-husband, whose name I can't remember.
Was that the bald guy that blew his brains out, or was it
Matthew Barney? No, that was the stalker. Matthew Barney.
So today's film is...
The Northman, 2022, right? It's 2022?
Yes. The Northman! From visionary director Robert Eggers comes The Northman, an action-filled epic that follows a young Viking prince on his quest to avenge his father's murder. Directed by Robert Eggers, written by Shion and Robert Eggers, starring Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, Claes Bang, as well as Anya Taylor-Joy and Ethan Hawke. So, Danny, why did you pick The Northman, a horror movie, right? This is a horror movie?
Ethan Hawke. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, this is a great horror movie. Why did you pick The Northman?
Yeah, it's not really a horror movie. Well, it's Robert Eggers.
It's a genre movie. I put it in the intro now. I said that we do genre now, so I don't give a rat's ass.
Did you put that? Okay.
I did. So I guess we covered ourselves. I'm like, in the new opening of the show, it's like, we review horror, genre, whatever. So now we can just do that.
I haven't actually,
You don't watch our show? Yeah, Danny doesn't watch our show.
Sometimes I do, just not always.
And then he goes, why do I watch this? But go ahead. So why did you pick Northman?
Because, Robert Eggers and also Bjork is in it.
Yes, you're a big fan of Bjork.
Although her role is like nothing.
Are you a big enough fan of Bjork to make home videos and send her a box that would explode and then paint yourself red and shave your head and then blow your brains out?
I wouldn't go that far, but I'm close. I'm close to that.
If you ever watch that video, boy, it's a very disturbing.
No, actually, I haven't listened to any of her newer stuff, but I have seen her in concert.
Did you see that? Did you see that video of that dumb asshole that did that though? It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad and depressing, but it's very comical. The way he dies.
I don't think it's comical at all. I think there's something wrong with you if you think it's comical.
There's this guy. It was a Spanish guy, right? And he was obsessed with Bjork. And it drove him insane that I think she was dating a black guy at the time, right? That's what happened. And I'm like, this guy's
Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was. I'm like, this guy's Latino. Like, he's practically has, like, black blood in the system. Sorry to all my Latin listeners, because I am Latino myself. And it's just like, he's, like, ranting for hours and hours, and then he puts a pistol. He shaves his head. He looks like something out of this horror movie called The Passions of Darkly Noon, where he paints his whole face up and he shaves his head, and it's very disturbing. And he puts a pistol in his mouth and he goes, "Hoop," and he blows his brains out. And I remember that sound like just over and over in my head, and it's just like,
you should make that your ringtone.
And you don't see the top of his head.
But it's the ringtone, and then it's like followed by Bjork or something. Like it's like combines the two.
Yeah,
like
so you don't see his like brains come out of his head, but you see like the indentation of his skull pop up. Like when a cartoon.
I don't want to.
All right,
come on.
So he's dead. And then if you want to see a funny clip of Bjork, there's one where she's walking out of an airport.
Oh, the paparazzi was harassing her for days.
But this one was just like, this was just like a woman who's asking.
No, but they only showed that one clip. But that woman had been harassing her for like days.
And he excuses violence. And so this woman, like, I don't know if she asked her a question about her kid or something going on. And Bjork just like jumps on this middle-aged woman and starts kicking her ass. It's a very disturbing clip.
Bjork is pretty cool. I like her. Ethan Hawke is the king. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Ethan Hawke, who he's great in everything he's in. He's incredible in every film he's in. He actually made I forgot which Blumhouse movie that was, the one about the watching the home
with
videos.
the ghosts, and there was like hanging
Sinister,
ghosts
I think.
behind
No,
him.
not Sinister.
No, Sinister was a different one.
No. It was something called.
You saw like some film on a projector.
All I know is that the name of the bad guy in that movie was called Mr. Boogie, and I was like, oh Jesus, I hope they don't say the name of the monster in the movie because it was so awful. But anyway, Ethan Hawke who is Ethan Hawke in this movie?
He's the king. He is Amleth's.
Yes.
The names are hard in this. He's the
Sinister
good
was
king
the movie.
in the very beginning of the movie. He was only in it for a little bit.
Sinister was the movie that he was in.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. So he's the king of. Where are they?
Do you know
where anybody is in this movie?
Are they like fucking like Norway or something? They're in Ireland, I think.
Was it
I'm
really?
not sure.
It can't
To
be.
be honest, I'm not sure.
Honestly, I was surprised by the end of this movie because I don't know.
I know they're in Iceland at one point, but like
I thought that like volcanoes only exist in like tropical areas.
there's
so
the
when
volcanoes in Spain.
When there's a volcano at the end, I was like, what? Like I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't think there was any
There's
volcanoes near.
everywhere. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I was what the hell do I know? I only see them in like Hawaii or Japan and shit like that in movies. I never see them in any other geographical place. It's an awesome visual. But anyway, so yes, he's the king in this area. His son Amleth looks like that little boy looked Lilu from The Fifth Element. I forget that lady's name.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Of course, I just can't think of her name either.
The lady from Resident Evil.
You know what's weird? Anytime you say, "Oh, I forget their name," the other person also forgets it. Like you like set my mind to also forget it.
That little boy looks like Mila Jovovich, so it's very disturbing. So the son is Amleth. Amleth is the story that actually, it was so funny. I was reading a comment about the film that somebody was pissed off about the movie because they were like, I wanted to see a Viking epic, not like a fucking like a Hamlet or some shit. And the ironic thing is that the story of Amleth is what inspired Hamlet.
Oh, okay. I didn't feel like this felt like a Shakespearean play or something. I thought this was a pretty badass movie.
The original story, Amleth, is the one that inspired Hamlet. Even though like the names are similar, Amleth, Hamlet. So the guy who like I guess the guy must have not realized what he just said, but and somebody else pointed it out. But yeah, so we have this king with his wife Nicole Kidman. It's pretty interesting. They have plastic surgery back then, right? I didn't know that. Because she had plastic surgery back then in Norway. It's interesting.
Why?
Because she had a lot of plastic surgery done. And the brother of the king is Claes Bang, who we should remember as Dracula. Oh no, you didn't see Dracula the TV series. It's on Netflix.
No, I didn't.
It's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. It's 3 parters, and I think it's 2 hours each. It's by the guy who wrote.
It's live action.
Yes.
Okay.
And he plays like he's like an old school like villainous Dracula.
I could see him as a Dracula actually.
He's really good in it. Like I think we should review it.
How many of these Skarsgårds
There's
are
3
there?
Skarsgård.
Are there like 7 of these brothers? They're in everything.
Well, I know the father had a lot of kids, but Alexander Skarsgård is obviously the son.
Is this the one from It? No, that's a different one.
No, that's Bill Skarsgård, I think. Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. The oldest one is the Skarsgård who's in the Thor movies. He's the eccentric scientist that helps Thor and Jane and stuff like that.
Okay.
He's been in everything.
He's a brother or he's the dad?
He's the father. And his son is Alexander Skarsgård, this guy. And the other brother is Bill Skarsgård, who's in It, who plays Pennywise.
But isn't there another one also?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. The guy who probably fucking built our house is probably a Skarsgård. There's a lot of Skarsgård. But that must be nice to have like sons.
Gustav. There's Walter, Bill, Gustav. And then his dad is Stellan. I'm assuming that's...
Yeah, Stellan. That's the guy. Stellan Skarsgård. Right. Stellan. He's a very
he's
good
also
actor.
in Dragon Tattoo, I think.
Yeah, he was good. He was great in that movie. But yeah, Stellan Skarsgård. He's like actually like went and saw like some BBC series that he was in that was actually pretty good. He's just a good actor. Anyway, but he's obviously passed it on to his kids. And,
do you think his sperm has like some kind of like acting magic in it?
Yeah, it comes.
Do you think if I guzzled down his sperm, I would temporarily be an actor? Like in that movie Meteorite Man, where Bill Cosby touches a meteor and then he like gets superpowers for 10 seconds.
Yeah, what happens is while he was having sex with his wife, his balls were on top of the tape of a Stella Adler acting techniques, and that's why his kids become so normal. So anyway, Ethan Hawke, his brother Fjolnir the Brotherless. Well, he becomes the Brotherless. His brother overtakes him, kills his brother. Very Conan. I remember when I first saw the trailer for this, I was like, "This is fucking Conan the Barbarian." Like, I wasn't really like blown away because I was like, "This just looks like a regular sort of average revenge."
Really made though.
Viking.
Really well made though.
It's a well-made film, but I didn't see the point of it after I watched it.
Okay.
Still good. So it's not. This isn't a negative review for me, but it's sort of like a halting review. So
I was sad Willem Dafoe wasn't in it more.
Yeah. So young Amleth runs away after he cuts off that guy's nose and turns his face into a CGI. to his face is the CGI. Yeah, so the father is killed. Very nice, acting by Ethan Hawke as always. He never sleeps through his roles. We fast forward to, I guess, 10 years later.
I feel like it's got to be a little more than that.
Yeah, because Alexander Skarsgård looks like he's got to be in his late 30s or something.
Well, I guess probably you age faster when you're constantly
when you're angry,
violence
yeah, I guess so.
and angry, and you know.
Yeah. Those people back then were a different breed from us. So, what did you think of Robert Eggers picking this story? Because obviously, the first movie he did was The Witch, which I thought was okay. I didn't think that was that great. I enjoyed the Lighthouse.
I
because
love
of
the Lighthouse. I love the
Yeah, it
Lighthouse.
was great. And
I
with this,
mean,
now
I
he
definitely
goes-
like the Lighthouse better, but I think I like this better than the Witch.
Oh no, I do like this more than The Witch, and I'm sure there's people that are like the really.
I mean, this
snooty horror
isn't like a
fans.
horror movie, but like
isn't.
it's a
It's
good
an
movie.
entertainment value. Yeah, I mean, like once you go in knowing what you're coming. Well, I mean, there's people who probably coming into this thing and there's probably Norway ghosts running around, which does happen in this film, but they handle it in a really good way. And the fact that like this is imagining like if somebody's believing their own bullshit while they're going through it, like they fantasize of stuff that's going on. So, but Eggers has a really good talent from like because there's a part where it's right out of Conan. Obviously, this is stuff before Conan, but I'm sure that they lifted the scene from the Conan movie when he takes the sword out of the corpse's hands, but then the fucking corpse turns alive and starts fighting him.
Right.
And then it's revealed that he was just imagining it and takes a sword, but it's like really like it's done with such ease and it's so well done.
So wait, you don't think there was any actual supernatural stuff in this movie?
No, Danny, because he killed the corpse and then you see him walk.
I'm not
up
talking about
and
that
take the sword.
specific. I'm just saying as a whole, you don't think there's any supernatural?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think what happens is that these are people, Danny. There's religious people that really believe that they're seeing ghosts and and they're seeing like the Virgin Mary flying, talking to them and stuff like that. So I think that these people here, because nobody else, they weren't going crazy. He was going crazy. He was like literally seeing all this weird shit. I guess vengeance might make you see shit, that you start believing in your head.
I think there was. I think there was supposed to.
So you think that there was?
Maybe I'm
So
wrong.
you think there was an actual? What do they call those women? Valkyrie that flew him up into space at the
Well,
end.
she said she wasn't a Valkyrie.
Right, because it wasn't her. It was like a mutant woman from outer space that he was picturing him saving him from his brother's prison. When she said no, I helped. I had to. You were heavy. So they reveal it right there. So none of this is really happening. None of that crazy shit is actually happening. Well, I see it that way. You know what I mean? So all right, so believe what you want to believe. What do you want me to do?
I don't know.
It's like me telling you there's no Santa Claus. So
You ruined my Christmas.
So we see an older Amleth played by Alexander Skarsgård, a very good actor. He was in, I guess that show True Blood for a while. I never watched that show. It's like a vampire.
I've heard it's good and
It
weird
seems like
and kind of funny also.
It seems like a
I haven't seen it.
vampire melodrama kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was in Tarzan. He seems to be an actor that like he has the Hollywood looks, and he's obviously a very good actor, and he's like shredded.
And
So
he's
if you're
got that magic daddy come in him.
So if
You
you're
know
like
what'd be
a fat,
cool if instead of women giving birth, a guy would just jack off and it would just like the sperm would just form like
do you
into
know
the
how,
shape of a baby.
Do you know how much how overpopulated the world would be if that was the case? Like
Well,
we literally would have
maybe-
nowhere to walk around.
Maybe a woman would have to like bless it or
Oh.
something with like a, I don't know, a queef or
Do you know how?
something.
But do you know how many crazy women want to have like children? Like there's just like insane people that want to have children, so they'll have it anyway. They'll be like cat. They'll run into a cat lady and be like, "I blessed this child." Like fuck that. You just think of nightmare scenarios. So Amleth decides to raise himself. Well, not raise himself, but he becomes a slave. So there's white slavery in this movie, which I'm sure there's like
Everyone's
white power.
a slave.
So I'm sure there's like
anyone
white.
and everyone is eligible.
I'm sure there's like a white power going like, yeah, see, so don't complain. Like
I
some
told
white
you.
guy that- Yeah, right. I told you, I'm oppressed. And he's like, on Fox News or something like that. But so yeah, he becomes a slave. It shows you how brutal these people are, where they just go from one kingdom to another, like cutting everybody down. They put the children and I guess some of the women in. Not. I guess not.
Only
the
the
women,
ones they don't
the
need,
women.
basically.
They put them into huts and burn them to death. So Amleth is not necessarily a good guy either. This is just like a revenge guy. And since he's a protagonist,
No, he's like definitely not a good guy.
Yeah, he's a shithead too. So everybody's a piece of shit in this movie. And so he goes. I did like how Nicole Kidman, because I was like Nicole Kidman, because she ends up, she's like falls in love with the brother because apparently Ethan.
I thought she's really good at like playing.
She's very good. Oh yeah, she's great in this movie. She's really good, and you can see why she's been acting for so long. I heard an interview with her, and I think it was Mark Maron, and she's really good. Like she's down to earth, and she's a good actor and shit like that. And it's just, you know how Hollywood is with women that like age or something, and then they critique her.
No, I'm glad she's like having her come back now. She's great. She was also in that really good fucking the Sacred Deer movie we watched. I forget. I can't remember that.
Yeah, right. No,
How to Kill a Sacred Deer or
a
Sacred Deer.
And plus, she had to like fuck Tom Cruise for like 30 years, right? Was it?
That's probably why she's so good at playing crazy. She's studied it up close.
Then again, he was like, yeah, that's right. He's probably as tall as her pussy is, so like he can like he was.
He
always
is
had
short.
To go down
Apparently,
on her.
he wears lifts.
Oh yeah, him and Robert. If you ever see photos of Robert, the guy who plays Tony Stark, Robert
Downey Jr.
Yeah, if you ever look at his shoes, he wears shoes that look like Frankenstein shoes because he's so short.
Funny.
But anyway, so
I like
Nicole
him
Kidman
now.
plays.
Tom Cruise, I don't like.
I have no feelings on Tom Cruise. So I believe he's crazy, but I have no feelings.
He's overrated,
about him.
and I don't understand the appeal. It's okay.
So his Mission Impossible movies are good, and Interview with a Vampire is a classic that'll beat most movies. Yeah, see, Danny. So she plays Queen Gudrun. We do find out later that she is a bad guy also because she said yes to having her own son killed. She's like nutty. She's nutty as a fruitcake. And her like monologue scene with her son, she's great. When she's like telling him, "Yeah, fuck you," basically, and then she starts kissing him, and he's like, he's all fucked up because he has never had a mother figure before, so he doesn't really know what intimacy is. But he slept with this girl before that happened, all right? He slept with.
Yes. Or right after. I can't
This is interesting that Robert Eggers kind of waved away 100% accuracy for this movie. Because, like, the witch they were talking in this all... But I guess Anya Taylor-Joy is Spanish, so she was...
I mean, it was a relief in a way to be able to not have to, like, translate what they're saying in my head. Because, like, with the witch, it was like, oh, my God, like, this is hard.
Yeah, I actually have to roll that back because since Anya Taylor-Joy is actually Latina, she wasn't really, like, the people from back then, too. So I guess, whatever. He's just picking the good actors for it. So she, like... She makes out with Amleth, and he's like, "What the fuck," and like, so he's not sure. But that's a good scene. Like, Alexander Skarsgård is an actually good actor, And for some reason, like his movies, like this didn't make any money either. But I don't think Robert Eggers movies do make money like that. But I think that people
like, why not though? It's a good movie.
It is. It's a good movie, but you know how it is. People want to see. If I had Captain America in it,
I mean, I could understand why maybe The Lighthouse wouldn't make money, although I love it. But like, it's a weird movie. Like, I get. People might not want to see like Willem Dafoe's ass as he's like farting.
I think everybody.
Like, I get it, but like this is like a, people who are in like Game of Thrones and shit like that would probably like this movie. I would think.
Yeah, like I mean, this is it's like an old school. Like I was surprised that this movie actually got made. Like it was all like white cast, and it was like a white movie. Like because you know how nowadays anybody would cry if there's like not if they don't like put somebody in there. Like
well, I mean, it's showing them as terrible. Viking
I guess
people.
You're right, yeah. And Robert Eggers is not that, like, I was talking to somebody else about that, like, oh, I can't watch this because it's so-and-so, because it's so, like, white domination. I was like, well, Robert Eggers doesn't like extremist white, like, what is it? Nationalism shit. He doesn't like that. Like, he said, I don't like how this Viking culture has been, taken into being, oh, we're the best and all that. So he doesn't like that. He's not into that. But the problem is when you're making them, because he's making movies obviously with all bastards and asshole characters. But the only thing is, those type of people are gonna watch this and be like, "This is great." Like they're gonna watch it. It doesn't matter to them because
the people who watched Fight Club and thought like, "Wow, this is great." They didn't understand that he's like making fun of all of this shit.
Of course. So even after that volcano scene, I was screaming "White Power," and I'm Puerto Rican.
I know.
So it was like
you are that way. I mean, we know in the truth though of you.
Yes. I was actually petitioning to have my foreskin grow back. Anyway, so also in this movie is Anya Taylor-Joy, who's like a very unique actress. We saw her in Last Night in Soho. She was in a very big Netflix series.
Oh yeah, she was in that.
She was in a very big chess series on Netflix. Like I was like, I don't want to see. People love that show, but I'm like, I don't know if I can watch chess. But people say it's a great show.
Chess, like the game chess.
Yeah, she plays like an actual woman that like was brilliant and played. I don't know. I think the woman's still alive, but she's like a brilliant at chess.
Okay.
And like, but apparently, like people like it's a very high rated show. I don't know why I'm losing my voice this early in the morning. And the Queen's Gambit, that's what it's called. But people love that show. She's been in a lot of stuff. She was in the first like Marvel horror movie, The New Mutants. It's like an X-Men movie that nobody saw. She's gonna be, which I'm actually looking forward to. She's gonna be in the prequel Furiosa of Mad Max by the same director. Okay. Cool. So you know that's gonna be good. She's actually playing the younger version of Furiosa. You saw Mad Max and.
There's some bits of it. I still have to watch it.
You haven't seen that one? Oh, okay, it's a fun movie.
I'm really lazy.
No, I understand. No, I understand because it's like I actually enjoyed it in the theater. Like it was great. Like, but people have been jerking off about that.
I just get super lazy about like watching things.
Well, I would say watch Fury Road. It's actually very entertaining. Like it was entertaining.
I've been meaning to forever. I just like always.
But she's in here, and it was so funny because she has an obvious body double in one scene. You know the part where he's in the sauna. I don't know how hot water works in Iceland or wherever the fuck they are, but there's like
they probably had those hot.
That's right. It must have been next to the volcano, right? That's probably why it would be hot. I get it now.
Yeah.
And it was obviously like she walks off screen and you see like a nude woman like with a. And I think usually when it works like that, an actress will pick out a nude body double's body that's closest to them.
I'm just picturing.
No, that's how it works.
I don't know why I'm picturing, but if they use like Mortal Kombat graphics to CGI a nude body walking away, like,
well, that's been done
abruptly in the middle of the movie. What?
Because there was a movie.
Like if they just like juxtaposed like a horrible CGI nude body walking away because she didn't want to be nude.
But they'd done that with what was that movie? There was a movie called Machete. You know that stupid movie with I guess the Mexican guy, and like there's a scene with Jessica Alba.
Danny
Trejo, and there's a scene with Jessica Alba where she's in the shower and she's like standing sideways naked, and she was wearing like clothes, but they just CGI'd her clothes like into like a naked body, and it looked really realistic. But like once you know, you're like, oh, this isn't the same. But anyway, in here it was like obviously a woman with who's nude that did her job for her. Although I think she was naked in that other scene where she's making out with him, right? Like so, I was like, okay, but I guess this is like a full. This is like a full. I
should ask her.
Too much time on.
Write
this
her fan mail. Ask her.
But she's obviously very good in this too. It's funny because people call Anya Taylor-Joy their alien food because she doesn't look human. Like she has like a.
She does have a
she looks like a little
look. Yeah.
She does. She has a very unique look to her face because she says in her own thing, she goes, well, I know I'm not normal looking. I'm not very pretty. And I'm like, well, there's something about her though. You know what I mean? There's something very like enigmatic and like magnetic about her performances and shit like that. And she's good in this. Like the part when she's like, remember when she's pregnant and then she's on the boat and she starts flipping out because he jumps back into the water and she starts speaking in another language. This is how uncultured, and I have no idea what the fuck anybody's saying in this movie. But she's like just goes on this rant.
Well, it's like an ancient language. It doesn't exist anymore anyway.
Yeah, and but she's good in it. She's really good in it. And what did you think about the? I know your favorite parts were probably the supernatural aspects of it, like you said before, where it just like pops off on other stuff.
Actually, I think my favorite part was actually the whole beginning ritual where they were acting like dogs and drinking the
right where him and his son and they put those
drinking the psychedelics
sound they put those goofy
that
fart sound
and
effects
like
in the 1950s.
Everything with Willem Dafoe is like amazing. It's too bad he's only in it for
like
5 minutes.
Yeah, the one thing that I got confused by is when Amleth like runs off and he finds like a cave with a witch inside of it. And the witch has Willem Dafoe's head, and I was like, "What? Like, who's this guy? Like, where'd this guy come from?" Because he seemed like I don't know who the actor was, but I was like, "Who is this guy? Like, how did he find this witch? Like, what's going on?"
Well, all the villages have their own witches, I guess.
That was a good Willem Dafoe like corpse head though. I thought it looked like Willem Dafoe as a skeleton. You know what I mean? Like, I would
But
be
you're
freaked out if
saying
they
that
made,
that
like,
wasn't even a real witch. That was just a hallucination. He's crazy. You're saying that he's just crazy and
no, I think that guy.
witch.
I think that guy actually exists. I think that him talking to him was like because they had parts. Remember when they put the mushrooms in people's soup, so everybody's flipping out. So I'm sure all those people had fucking.
Yeah, but
like,
I've done mushrooms. They don't make you fucking get prophecies. Like,
but this is a fantasy movie, so it's like fantastical. But like when they get
yeah,
high.
no, I know, but I'm saying I think there was.
When has there been an
element.
actual drug thing in a movie? But maybe Midsommar was probably the closest thing to like.
No, also that fucking field in England. Oh my god.
Oh, all that stuff kind of happens when you do a drug trip, with all the like the morphing and shit.
The morphing, yeah, but you don't. I mean, I've never done an amount to straight up hallucinate an entire scene that's not there. I'm sure that's possible. Like, I know it's possible actually, but like, I don't know. I don't think that this guy was constantly tripping every part of the movie. Like, I think some of that shit was real.
There was a guy. It's funny. The guy's name was Ingvar Sigurdsson, who plays He Witch. So I guess they had to make sure that if you know it's a guy, it's a He Witch. And if you're in the beach, they call you a sandwich.
Witch.
I get it. You stepped over my joke. And
Yeah,
then
no,
also
I
there's,
heard it. I just didn't think it was funny.
There's Bjork as a seeress, and she has like no eyeballs, and she looks cool, and she shows up like once or twice. It was interesting because when Robert Eggers was writing this, like her friend, the one that Sion, I think is the guy's name, or the person's name, I don't know if it's a man or woman, is the one that helped write him because they knew all about this, you know, how to write, like even writing with those ruins. The movie and stuff like that. So
also, it's pretty cool. I bet Bjork did it because it's in Iceland. Maybe that was how it got her interest.
Yeah. So there's also this woman, Olwen Fure, who plays Ashadul Hofgathija.
These names are hard.
And she was the woman that was supposed to sacrifice that girl later on, but then remember she gets her ass kicked and they split some guy in half. That lady was in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She's the one that played the new version of the woman that got away in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They tried to make her like into a Jamie.
Yeah, you said it was a terrible movie.
It was a terrible movie, but it was better than Halloween Kills. And did you see the mountain? The mountain in the movie. The mountain was here.
Was he the one that hit
he was
the
crazy?
child?
Yeah, he was the one that tried to kill the kid.
Okay. I didn't realize that was actually him.
If you see, it was so funny because this must have been before. If you ever see him now he's like a boxer, like a pro boxer, and he only fights guys like. I would not want
to box him.
Oh my god! If you ever want to feel less manly than anything, you just look at videos of these people, because like he lost weight, right? Because first he was like doing strongman competitions, and the guy's like 9 feet tall. And you see footage of his wives or girlfriends are like 4 feet tall, and I'm like, what the fuck's going? This guy, I hope this guy has a small dick or something. And like, anyway, I saw some boxing.
I bet it's fucking huge. It's probably the size of the thermos of water I'm drinking out of.
I saw. I'm sure you're fantasizing about it. There's like there was a boxing match with him and this other big guy, and now he's shredded. So he isn't like just like a big guy now. Now he's like thin and shredded, but still like 9 feet tall, and he's frightening looking. Like, I'd be like, I'm getting out of here. You know, if you just if you just walk to a building with him in it. Anyway,
what's his name?
Shit, what is his name? I call him the Mountain. I don't know what his name is. Fine. He has a specific name that I'm sure I'll find out.
I'm looking it up. Don't worry.
Half-board
Julius Bjornsson.
Yes,
oh my God.
Bjornsson. I found like the fantastic elements, like the parts where he's singing about his family tree. And then you see like the people, you see those skeletons running around, and you see like the corpse of what the hell is his name? Ethan Hawke, and then his lineage is going into him, and then his lineage is going to the two children. So there were people complaining, like, well, you know what type of people were complaining about, where it was fucking, why is it like, you know, he has to sacrifice himself for like a woman, and because I guess his daughter must become like a king or something, or queen or something later on. Because they focus on that woman, you know what I mean? It flashes around that child, the girl child, like she's very important. And I love the part where, you know, like you said, when they had to act like dogs in front of Willem Dafoe, you know, to prove their manliness, I guess, and shit like that. Like over and over, like when I finished the film itself, like especially the fight in front of the volcano was dope. Like really
No,
cool.
I love that.
I don't know how it happened. I just go and I wasn't like expecting him to actually kill the child, like his half brother, the little boy. That kid was fucking him up.
I was happy he did.
And he fucked up because he
The kid was stabbing him.
Well, yeah, obviously, I would have done that too. But like, he didn't want to kill Nicole Kidman because he doesn't kill women. He said he doesn't understand. Any man would have killed.
Trying to kill him.
No, I know, but that was his thought process going in. Like, he wasn't trying to kill her because he didn't want to kill a woman, especially with his mom. Even
Yeah.
There's like how there's people that like, regardless of what it is, you still want to have the love from your parent, even if they treated you like garbage. So it's like it's a whole thing about acceptance. That's probably why a lot of people are fucked up, because fucked up people raise them or don't raise them. And I thought Claes Bang was really good as Fjolnir, the bad guy. Mm-hmm. That whole fight, I think, because he lost everything. He lost his oldest son, that fucking little, vamping fuck.
It would have been cool if he just left him alive, but with like no arms or legs.
That's what I thought too. I was thinking about something like that too. But that vampy son, the one
that would be what
like,
I would do. I would remove somebody's eyes and tongues and hands and feet, and then leave them alive with no.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I love that instead. Because once somebody's dead, then they could just kind of rest and be fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You don't want to re-meet them in Valhalla or whatever the hell it's called.
This is a podcast that promotes vengeance.
Vengeance against only bad people who have hurt other people, not against innocent
normal people. No.
To be clear,
don't be bad to.
Don't be like Dexter if you're gonna do it. Don't be like against.
Yeah, well, Dexter
people.
did some bad stuff in that final season, but then.
Yeah, be like Dexter in his purest form when he was like in the first, with his dad still alive.
1 through 3. There you go. So yeah, I like the gore was good. Like when he chopped up those guys and he very like artistically planted their bodies on the side of the hut, and you see their bodies look like all fucked up and mangled.
He's got his magic sword. I mean, that guy could not remove the sword from the sheath.
He couldn't either, because I think it said you can't remove the sword during the daytime. Only at night.
So I'm saying it was a magic sword.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the only magic.
So that's what I'm saying. There is magic in the movie. It's not all a hallucination.
Okay, very good. Some of the CGI is pretty obvious, like the part when he shoves the sword through the guy's face, and then the guy with no nose, he just like shoves it into his face. I'm trying to think of stuff. So like all in all, I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a necessary movie, but it wasn't a movie that I did not feel bad that I saw. You know what I mean? Like
nothing's necessary.
I guess you're right. Well,
everything in life is just us. We need to eat and sleep and
be entertained. And Infinity War Part 56. Now that's necessary. I need to watch that to know where Doctor Strange was taking a shit. Like that. That was a great movie.
Yeah, he takes a shit in a portal, which like launches out into a different universe.
It launches into like a Germanic house.
How great would that be, though? If you didn't have a toilet, you could just make a little portal into your ass and shit.
And it goes into like a scat aficionado's house.
Scativerse.
So it's like there's like a German guy going, "Oh yes, Dinos Freddy."
That's the new porn. It's Spider-Man. Enter the Scativerse.
Spider-Man swinging around trying to avoid logs of falling shit and diarrhea. He's like, "Oh, Mr. Stark, I need to get out of here, Mr. Stark."
And Mary Jane's just running around with her mouth open, putting her face towards the sky.
And you see Ned taking big shits. That'd be great. He's like, "Oh." All right, top 10 comedy here, guys. Anyway, it was funny. It was classy until I did the sound effect. All right, so I liked the movie. I didn't see it with the necessary, like, after watching like his highbrow The Witch. This is still like a highbrow sort of genre film. Yeah, it's beautifully shot, really well.
I don't know if this guy can do anything that's not highbrow.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll ever do like a contemporary type of film, because that's what people tend to wonder when you just do like period piece films. But I'm fine with him doing these sort of movies. But now he has to like step back, because this movie, I think it was like $70 million they put to make this movie, and it obviously did not make that money back. Yeah. So now, but he's like, I would never do a Marvel movie. That's what he says. And I'm like, well, this motherfucker's probably going to end up doing Ant-Man Part 5 or something to make the money.
I mean, the guy doesn't need money. He's rich. He has to be.
I don't know about that. Not everybody's rich, even though if they make money. Like,
if someone's giving you a $90 million budget or something, like, you have to be making some money. Like,
but I don't think the million budget was for him. You got to think there's like a
no,
cast,
I know, but
there's
he's going to
thousands
be
of people
making
in
at
the
least
cast.
like $1 million.
These are like cast members that are all making probably $100,000 each. You know what I mean? The main cast, and then other people making like 10,000, 20,000. So that all adds up to like lots of money. It's still, to me, it boggles my mind that anything will cost like $70 million. Like, I don't know how that happens, but you see it on screen.
Yeah, I could live for like 1,000 lifetimes in that, honestly.
Yeah, like you can see that there was money put into this film on screen, but it was like, I guess, to the theater companies. Because sometimes they'll just make movies just to have a good name associated with their films. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we made this movie, so why don't you go watch Mr. Jackin' Off Part 5? You know, so I'm sure this is that type of film where Robert Eggers is, and like, just
imagine
like,
he makes period pieces, but like porn, and it's literal period pieces.
Yeah.
Like,
I was waiting for you to say that. Sort of like Ari Aster, like Ari Aster's newest movie, like they did Hereditary and Midsommar. Like those movies have staying power because they're direct horror
I
films.
fucking love those movies.
Right, they're like direct horror films as opposed to, and they sort of like connect with audience of now.
Yeah,
Because they're contemporary films, while Robert Eggers are really like a very specific type of audience that watches horror films. Like when people make fun of like,
yeah, Lighthouse is like super
Like, there's
artsy.
a-
like if
there's
you're
a
not
group-
into that, you're not gonna like it.
there are a group of people that like poo-poo like Ari Aster and Robert Eggers horror movies because they're like, oh, it's not as good as like the Sinister movies or whatever, and you're like, no, they're better than those movies in my opinion. But like
Those
when they
movies are like cut and paste.
like, there's people that really hate like A24 because they make type of like high snobbery horror films. But A24 at least makes interesting horror films. They're not making the same fucking movie over where somebody's like snapping
Yeah.
their fingers and a ghost face comes through a wall and shit like that. But Robert Eggers is the director that they're, you know what I mean? He's like the embodiment of what those people hate, as in the type of horror movies that he makes, like The Lighthouse and
Get some class into your lives.
because like I don't understand
Peasants.
when
I'm trying to think of a denigrating term for people who don't appreciate culture.
you disgusting swine.
Yeah,
but
and
it's
I
like
can look down my nose at them.
But like, because I don't understand like lumping in Ari Aster into that, like, because like I thought like legitimately like Midsommar and because Midsommar is even more contemporary than Hereditary. You know what I mean? It's like young kids getting high and then getting picked off. But I don't get what people's arguments that saying one horror movie is better than the other. Like, although there are like, I'll pick a video. I'll watch Divine eating shit in a horror movie over Halloween Kills. But like, so Robert Eggers has an uphill battle with audiences because it seems everything he does is very well done and interesting, but like he's very like he said now he has to kind of rethink what his next film is going to be because this is like a very public sort of flogging that he got for this movie because it didn't make the money.
Whatever. Anyway.
No, because it didn't make money. That's why.
Well, what are we rating this thing? What are we rating?
One thing before that, there was a viral thing where somebody fucked up and released a Northman poster of the movie in the train station. They put it up, but it didn't have any information on it. It was just a poster, and it didn't have the Northman. It didn't say who was in it. So it was just Alexander Skarsgård and all these actors, and it was like people were like, "What the fuck movie is this?" Because it was just like a poster. So that was funny.
Right.
Anyway, I'd give this movie a 7 out of 10. Knowing you just knocked up Anya Taylor-Joy, but you gotta make sure you kill your uncle. Danny, what rating would you give The Northman 2022?
I give this a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Finishing the job on your noseless, a guy with no nose whose nose you cut off by putting a knife slowly through his face.
And with that, Danny,
It's very satisfying to watch, actually.
And with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Water ventilation.